Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Thought Leaders Live, where we talk with thought leaders in business, life, and all points in between. Excited today to be joined by an old friend, not old in the sense of aging, but we've known each other for a while. Sam Gupta, principal consultant at Elevate IQ. Sam, thanks for joining us today.
Any day, my friend, and we have known each other for more than a minute, I guess now.
Yeah, there we
Yeah, so it's definitely a long-term friendship. Thank you so much for inviting Greg. I love your show and work.
Okay, thank you, Sam. And you have been working at Elevate IQ for years, globally recognized thought leader in digital transformation, nearly 2 decades of experience focused on business software. And today we're going to talk about the name of the title of the program: Be AI Native or Die. Die. How AI is changing the manufacturing industry, and the stakes just might be that high these days, and we'll get into it. But Sam, before we delve into all the topic of the conversation here, can we hear a little bit about your personal journey and a little bit more about your business?
Yeah, happy to. And by the way, I mean, the reason why we chose this topic is whenever anybody talks about AI, there has to be some sort of death, associated with that. I don't know whether people followed, Satya Nadella's comments. He started this, commentary by saying that SaaS is dead.
Hmm.
That was very popular headline. That's why we chose this topic. It's just fun, nothing serious here. But back to my personal journey. Greg, as I've been in this space for roughly about 20 years. Was doing a lot more enterprise work, and now I'm focused more into the mid market. I would say manufacturing has always been one of our target verticals. I have always been entrenched in the manufacturing industry, and that's how I met you, Greg, if I remember correctly.
Right.
A group of thought leaders, right? So again, we have been in this game, the company, for roughly what 6-7 years now. It's doing amazingly well, I would say. We have changed our focus a little bit. Not changed. I mean, we are still very ERP, CRM, business software, but now the game has changed for everybody. So is for us as well. That a lot more inquiries are coming for AI strategy, AI native. How ERPs are going to become AI native, how CRMs are going to become AI native. So that's from the professional journey. From the personal side of things, I have two beautiful children. Those are under 5. So right now, I don't think I get any sleep. If I can get for an hour, that's probably too much to ask at this point of time. But it's been phenomenal experience. I have personally grown a lot with this experience. So I absolutely love my life right now. Right.
That's good to hear, Sam. And I mean, you were always sleep deprived, probably before kids. I've known you. You're one of the hardest workers I've met in my business career, and you're always on it, always present, and always pushing. You've pushed me, challenged me on some of the marketing ideas, and so I appreciate the provocative nature, and I know you are always searching and looking for better ways to do things and to help people out. And I think everybody needs that jab if you're going to succeed in business. Let's dive into the topic, and I want to take it just a step back into the native AI. You and I were talking before, and I think there's so much terminology being bandied about. Can you explain to me your definition of native AI and how it fits into the big picture?
Yeah, happy to. And the right term for this, the way marketers are positioning it, would be AI native. There's not much difference, I guess, in both of those. But AI native is the sort of the marketing definition of AI being AI native, I guess. Now, when you look at AI native is going to change all facets of our life, the way we are living, and obviously how the business is done. So when you look at the AI native, every single interaction that you have is probably going to be with AI native applications. AI native, when you look at this is going to be the agentic version of the applications that you have dealt with. And Greg, I'm pretty sure you were active in the writing game back in the days when print changed to, and I think that is something that we had discussed on our episode, that you were more of the print advertising guy and you were creating these catchy lines to grab the audience. I mean, that's what advertisers did, right?
Right.
And then web came along and everybody was trying to sort of move to web. So this is going to be a completely different experience, complete change to the industries, whether you talk about marketing, accounting, procurement, finance. Every single interaction, recruiting, hiring, how you are going to apply for jobs is going to change substantially, and this is going to be a positive change for everybody, because we are talking about productivity at the order of magnitude, right? So again, how I define AI native in my mind is how AI native your business model is, how AI native your workflows are. And when I look at this, we need to look at both lenses, whether you talk about the business and business models, their workflows, but then you also need to look at your own workflows, how much you are able to accomplish using AI. That is probably going to be your personal KPI that would dictate your own personal productivity. And if you're not able to justify that, companies will struggle in hiring people who are not AI native. So this is going to be a sea change, I would say, for the entire industry. But AI native meaning you have to accommodate AI native as a mindset in your business model, in your workflows, the way workers are approaching. So I don't know if I have done justice to your question, but I'll take any follow-ups, Greg.
Sure, you bet. So, give me like a before and after, because I think a lot of, and if you have a specific example, but I think a lot of people, from my perspective, I'm using AI, generative AI. I might use it for ideation, or I'm writing something, or we're creating something, and then we're using it to fine tune or do something like that. And I think what's intriguing to me about the agents and the AI native
Yeah.
is that you don't bolt on the AI after the fact. It's more like you're starting from the ground up, building AI into it. Does that sound accurate? And if so, can you kind of explain how that's a different approach than before?
So, depending upon how you approach it, and whether you are simply buying AI native capabilities or you are building AI native capabilities,
Okay.
those two would be two completely different approaches and two completely different outcomes as well, obviously, right?
Okay.
But what I really want to talk about is the evolution of manufacturing. Okay, and that
Okay.
will set the context, for you, because obviously you are talking about manufacturers here, right?
Yeah.
So if you look at the manufacturing, okay, how it has evolved, I don't think we had something like industry 4.0, industry 5.0, maybe 60, 70, 100 years back. 60, 70, 100 years back, what did we have for manufacturing? Some mechanical machines. I don't know how much electronics was part of the machine, but then the electrical workflows became part of the machine building. Okay, so I don't know which manufacturing you are talking about here. Generally, manufacturer would mean you are trying to create something, whether it is going to be commoditized product or it is going to be slightly more expensive product, which is going to be for industrial applications, machinery, etc., right?
Right.
So if you are talking about commoditized products, in those as well, you are going to have the infusion of AI native capabilities, the way electrons were introduced in mechanical applications. So we are talking about introduction of electricity. But then when we talk about industry 4.0, we are talking about introduction of the internet to every single device as well as machines. And you have probably personally seen that now. I don't know, uh, Greg, whether you use Alexa in your home. Alexa, as soon as you are going to literally enable that in your home, it knows pretty much everything. It can talk to your TV, it can switch off. You don't need remote anymore. So, how does Alexa know all of this, right? So that's the kind of capability we are talking about by introducing IP with every single device that you have in your home. But when you talk about commercial applications from the manufacturing perspective, every single machine or device or whatever you are using on the manufacturing shop floor is going to have an IP. Are we there yet? No. Machines are not necessarily connected, and I think that's something that we have been arguing for last 5 6 years, Greg. Now, when it comes to AI native meaning these applications are going to be infused with every single workflow inside the machine, outside the machine, inside the factory, outside the factory, okay, inside your company, outside your company. Okay, so that's the kind of infusion we are talking about, but it's a very similar experience as infusion of electrical engineering or computer engineering. Now we are talking about AI engineering. So hopefully there is going to be a degree, one of these days. I'm pretty sure they have launched, which is going to call AI engineering, and we are really trying to talk about breaking down bigger problems into smaller chunks, software, hardware, and then replacing that with AI native workflows. I don't know again if I answered your question, but that's the kind
Yeah.
of evolution and introduction that we are talking about.
No, I like the analogy with the electricity. That that's very accurate, and I think appropriate. What let's talk a little bit now. So, okay, AI native going to be part of everything we do inside outside the company.
Yeah.
Tell me how you think this reshapes the workforce roles and the skill requirements of people.
Yeah, and that's a very interesting topic as well, because now your biggest competition is not necessarily your peers, it's AI or the person who is using these AI or AI native capabilities. So if you look at the workflows, obviously companies are very smart, businesses are very smart, economy is depressed at this point of time. They need to figure out how to be more productive, how to be more profitable. That's what businesses are trying to do, right? So, how they are going to do it is by introducing AI native capabilities as much as possible in every single workflow, whether you talk about customer experience, customer service, sales, marketing, content writing, content production, which is probably the easiest that everybody has seen. But we are going to have these incorporated as part of every single workflow imaginable in a company that was executed by humans. Now they are going to assess, okay, can we replace this particular step with AI agent? If we are able, if we are going to do that, okay, what do I need to think about, right? So is it going to impact the life cycle of this guy? Do I need to replace this guy, hire somebody else? Now these guys need to think about as well, right? Because the company is moving, companies are moving, industry is moving, economy is moving. You need to move along. From the worker contribution perspective. Greg, I don't know, I'm pretty sure you have followed this conversation. Everybody in manufacturing was talking about upskilling workers, and when they talk about upskilling, the only thing they meant is, hey, can these machinists, can they learn G codes? That's what upskilling meant back then. But now you probably don't need all of those machinists,
Mm.
to be completely honest, okay? Because AI agents are going to do all of that. So why do you need them? Why do they need to be skilled? Because these are very procedural workflows that you are talking about. You can easily train AI agents for that. In fact, I mean, you can probably automate a lot of the engineering tasks. So, question is going to be, do you need engineers? The funniest part about AI and AI native movement that we are seeing in the market is the biggest impact we have seen because of AI native was on software engineers. Can you believe this? Because they are the ones who created AI and they are the first ones to be replaced. So who's safe? Nobody. Literally nobody. Um, so that's the kind of impact we are talking about on the workers' skill requirements, as well as workflows. So I don't know if that answers your question. I'll take any
Yeah,
follow-ups.
I guess I guess who is safe? Nobody. Where do you see the role of the humans, those of us who are left, in all of this?
Yeah, so that's a very interesting question as well. And people sort of have this fear that AI is way too powerful and it's going to become even more powerful. But I actually like to compare AI with my 3-year-old. the attention span, the memory that AI has at this point of time, it's not more than that. AI forgets every other second. Okay,
Yeah.
AI cannot remember anything. AI does not understand the context unless you provide very specific instructions. AI works in very short chunks and small chunks. So doing something that is going to be at the enterprise scale is going to be very difficult even today with these capabilities of AI. So that's where humans are, or their role is going to be really important. Humans role and what they are really good at is, even though a lot of people are claiming that, hey, AI is very similar to your head, do we really need your head? Probably not, right? But we don't sort of appreciate how or the kind of complex tasks that our heads are able to perform. It will take a long time for AI to get there. Again, AI right now is 3 year old. I'm not saying that AI will not get to 15, 16, 18, 19, but then we are going to learn about different problems. The AI is also going to have the same behavioral issues the way humans experience. Okay, you are sort of kid, you are toddler, then you sort of have your own journey, you get into your teenager, you are going to have different experiences there, different personality, and that's what we are going to see with AI as well, and we have to overcome all of these challenges. But right now you can use AI to your advantage as long as you understand that it is 3 year old, it is good at something. Okay, as long as you leverage those capabilities. So the role of humans is going to be storyboarding, which is what humans are really good at, breaking down very complex problems. That's what is engineering all about. Even
Mm.
though AI is able to automate and perform a lot of commoditized procedural activities, as long as they are going to have some sort of deterministic outcome, AI is still not good at indeterministic or very complex problems, even though it can probably perform cancer research right now.
Right.
But when we talk about complexity, is when variables are not going to be finite. That's where humans are still relevant, and they'll be relevant.
Yeah, and that's been my, experience, obviously a lot more limited than yours, but when I'm working with AI, once we get into the real complexity of things, the results are sketchy at best. But um, let's talk a little bit now. Let's switch over to who you're helping and give me an example. Now, we've been talking about big picture theoretical terms here. Let's get down to boots on the ground. Tell
Yeah.
me about who you're helping and give us some examples of some of the work you're doing if you can.
Yeah, more than happy to. So our business, Greg, as we were always into this holistic transformation. From the organizational alignment perspective, obviously ERP plays a big role in that, and that's why I was known as more of the ERP guy.
Sure.
But from the business model perspective, what we do is companies come to us when they don't know where the problems are. And that could be very abstract in defining that, but generally the problem is going to start, hey, I have operational efficiency issues, or I have some sort of system communication issues. That's when companies are going to come to us, and then we sort of rewire everything. We rewire the target operating model in terms of how their workflows are structured. We define the roles and responsibilities of the departments, the individuals. We create the enterprise architecture, because the way you would create the organizational design for your company, you need to design for everybody else as well as for the systems. They need to have their own roles and responsibilities, validation, reconciliation, how you are going to debug everything. So we sort of define and design all of that. And now in that work, obviously now our workflows are very AI focused as well, because now customers are saying, when we look at the organization, we cannot afford to ignore AI. That's why we sort of became, AI kind of capabilities that we have launched or introduced, because the customers are asking that, okay, we don't want to hear business software conversation, ERP conversation, CRM conversation. If you are really doing the organizational work, then tell us where humans fit, where your AI agents fit, where your systems fit, and design the business model, for us. So some of the I would provide some examples in terms of the kind of companies that we have helped with. We have helped with all kinds of manufacturers, whether you talk about your machine builders, and generally they are going to be at different financial inflection points in their journey. So in most cases, let's say if you look at a $30 million shop or $50 million shop. Okay, so they would have, maybe their accounting is going to be outsourced. They don't necessarily understand how cross-functional workflows are supposed to work. They might not have as much planning maturity, MRP maturity, the way they might be doing procurement. Hey, I get the order, now let me figure out what I need. I need to make some calls here to my vendors, that I hang out with on a daily basis. Hopefully they have parts. If not, I need to call China. I need to figure out where I'm sourcing this part. So that's how they have worked. But this model is not necessarily scalable. So we teach them how to create a scalable model. From the work perspective, whether you are talking about sales, marketing, accounting, procurement, again, everything is kind of connected when you talk about organizational rewiring. So we have worked with, I don't know. I mean, see, Machine Builder was one example, just because they have very long sales cycle, very long marketing cycle as well for their deal flow. Their business model, business transactions are going to be very different compared to, let's say, if you talk about plastic extrusion manufacturer, or if you talk about a metal fabrication shop, serving HVAC, construction, whatever, right? So these are different examples, but their journey is going to be very similar. Okay, they are going to be at some sort of financial inflection point, and they are looking to see, okay, how do I get to 100 million? How do I get to $250 million, in revenue? And that requires substantial rewiring of all of the business transactions, because the operational friction is going to be too much that you will not be able to scale. Even if you are able to figure out sales and marketing, you will still have challenges. You will not be able to cross the chasm, is the term they use in marketing, right? So that's really real, and that's where you need all of these changes, and that's what companies generally hire us for.
I was talking to David Griffiths, who's in the IT field, several years back, and talking about the Internet of Things and the Purdue, was it the Purdue model, where you've got all the systems, different levels of how the systems all communicate with each other. I'm not sure if I've got that correct. Um, and some of the, I think some of the resistance that he was finding, everybody was like, well, everything's just going to speak together,
Yeah.
all going to work together in the cloud. And I think on the manufacturing, there's all these different pieces of hardware. Some were on some older systems, legacy software or operating system. I'm probably butchering that, but that ability to make that leap and share all the data, it wasn't proving to be as easy as people thought. Is this approach what you're talking about here in this kind of comprehensive switch to native AI? I mean, I think if I was a CEO, put myself maybe in a hypothetical CEO shoes, and I'm
You are
hearing
the
all this.
CEO.
Yeah, that's true. Of a manufacturing company. Thanks for the clarification. And I'm hearing this, I'm thinking, okay, wait, we've got all these software programs out there.
Yeah.
We've got all these existing structures. Are you telling me I have to go in? Am I throwing all these things out? Am I starting from scratch? What does this look like?
Yeah. So when you look at Industry 4.0, the whole manufacturing conversation is the one that you are referring to. Hey, I've got these 5 layers. This is how, manufacturing is supposed to be done. This is how we do Industry 4.0, 5.0. If you look at their perspective, okay, it's very siloed. They focus primarily on manufacturing. They argue that where you make money is on the shop floor, which might be partially true. Okay. But you need other things as well. When you are a smaller shop, okay, you focus only sales, marketing, manufacturing, shop floor to some extent. Sure, you are trying to argue about that. Okay, you need to look at OEE, you need to look at, how your machine communicates. That's where you make money. But again, that's a very siloed perspective. That's not enterprise or organizational perspective. When we look at organizational perspective, we need to balance pretty much everything. So even though they are arguing the same problem, they are saying, hey, we need to bring everything together, but we need to bring everything thing together in my territory, in my house, the way I see it. That's not how collective frameworks or systems work. Collective framework or systems, when you talk about democratic process, everybody needs to be equally represented. Okay, and that equal representation comes from, okay, who are my operations guys, who are my manufacturing guys, but we cannot afford to ignore my finance or HR or accounting or sales or marketing. Everybody has to be equally represented, and
Hmm.
then we need to figure out, okay, what is the handoff, where are the friction points, and how we can create organizational view. And now we cannot afford to ignore AI agents, because they are sort of part of the family. So you need to figure out what they are allowed to do, what they are not allowed to do. Obviously, they are not going to be compensated, but they are the cost, factor for you. So you still need to assess, okay, who's more effective? Are AI agents more effective or humans effective on a certain task? And that's how you do the organizational rewiring. Generally, when you hear all of these stacks and arguments, generally they are very siloed. Okay, manufacturing argues about manufacturing, supply chain argues about supply chain, procurement argues about procurement, accounting argues about accounting, CFOs argued about CFOs, CIOs argued so everybody is arguing about something, but there is no matchup. And that's where the real problem is. And these are all very political forces
Yeah.
that they are very very hard to correlate, and very hard to build the organizational model that is scalable. And that's where most companies struggle. AI is only going to amplify these problems, and now these problems are going to be far more visible than what we had seen before. And that is the problem why companies don't grow, to be completely honest. But what you are hearing is a very siloed mindset, very siloed approach. The whole manufacturing community only argues about manufacturing because that's what they care for, that's what they sell. uh,
Right. Right. Um, in terms of some of these roles and assessing where you're making the impact, I think immediately people go to the workforce. And so, but what you're saying, it's much more holistic, right?
yeah,
It's not only the workforce, but it's it's the entire workforce. Some roles will be replaced, some roles that will be redefined in terms of how they're managing or what they're managing with the AI.
yeah.
But virtually everything, even the human roles, what they touch, everything they do is going to be impacted and changed at some point. That's a big, that's a big
Rewiring,
tall
yeah.
order. And how do you even start with something like that, Sam? What's your, I'm just curious, we're going to have to get into a detail of an engagement, but really what's step one in entering that world?
Yeah, so the step one, number one, I mean, let's say if you are trying to figure out how your model is going to be in the net new world, we always talk about the compelling pain and driver. If you don't have that, these engagements are not going to go anywhere. So,
Okay.
what is that compelling force that is driving you to rethink your business model? Okay, it could be because your customers are pushing you that, okay, you used to deal with procurement agents in the past. Now we don't have all of those humans. Okay, you were able to get some deals in the past through the procurement because we have had relationship for the last 80 years, but now you are dealing with an AI agent, and they are going to do what they are going to do, and I don't know what biases they are going to have, but your business model and commercial model is going to change. So are you experiencing that in your industry? If not, you don't have to worry about anything. Okay, look at your competitors, what your competitors are doing at this point of time. Obviously everybody is trying to tap into this whole AI gold rush, is how it is defined on Wall Street right now. Okay, so is that a compelling force?
Hmm.
Okay, are your competitors doing anything that you should be thinking about? If those two are not there, then you might be maybe innovator or early adopter. Okay, if you want to be early adopter, then there is some sort of cost for experimentation. Okay, so then you have to figure out, okay, what am I going to do from the new business model perspective? Okay, where I'm going to invest money in rethinking about this. If you have that problem statement defined, then you need to do some sort of audit. Okay, this is what I'm trying to do. I need to assess, okay, can I implement this realistically, okay, within the financial means I have at this point of time with me? And if I do that, what is going to be the impact? Is it going to impact any sort of interactions from the customer's perspective, from vendors perspective, from employees perspective? How how employees are going to perceive this? Are they going to feel threatened? If that is the case, then probably you should not be implementing too much AI. So you need to look at everything. You have to analyze this comprehensively, but then obviously you have to assess the business value. Where are you going to get the business value? Is it going to be in some sort of operational efficiency? Is it going to be sales efficiency? Is it going to be marketing efficiency? Are you trying to improve customer experience? I don't know. I mean, so define the problem.
Yeah.
Once you have the problem, then it's much easier, and obviously money as well. um,
You're right.
so that would be the first step, to find out, do you have a real problem? If you don't have a real problem, probably don't worry about it.
Right. Those problems will find you though eventually if you're not thinking about it. Um,
Exactly.
Sam, thanks so much for joining us. So we've got a QR code right above Sam's head. Tell us a little bit about what people who are watching the show can get when they access that QR code.
Yeah, so this is our digital transformation guide, and it's not called AI at this point of time. We could have rebranded that, but we are still sticking with the digital transformation theme. So, what it provides is the comprehensive overview of how to approach digital transformation initiatives, and that includes AI as well. AI is not any different in our mind. So, if you are going through any sort of organizational transformation initiatives, whether you want to call that business transformation, AI transformation, digital transformation, whatever that is, okay, you have to look at comprehensively, and then you will require a lot more guidance in terms of what are different KPIs, benchmarks, and that's what they will get from the guide.
Fantastic. So Sam, if somebody wants to, they'll, obviously they can check out the guide, learn how to contact you. But if somebody's watching this show and is thinking, I want to talk to Sam right now, help me with my AI, Sam. How do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so finding Sam is very easy. In fact, AI can find Sam as well. So you can most certainly find me. Okay. The only thing you need to do is just put Sam Gupta on Google, and I'm probably going to be the first link. Okay. Sam Gupta, WBS Rocks, or Elevate IQ. ELEVATIQ. You can also go to our website, elevatIQ.com, and that's where you are going to find pretty much everything. We have our podcast, which is WBS Rocks. You can subscribe and follow that as well.
Okay, fantastic. Sam, thank you for joining us as always. Um, just sharing, you did have a couple friends showing up here. Um, let's see there. Do we have Dennis's comment here? My screen is a little altered.
Hello, Dennis.
Okay. And then we also, Anders Green showed up.
Yeah, and he's right, I guess. Humans are also good at creating really complex problems, and this is going to be at AI scale. So we are going to have a lot of problems that we'll be solving for the next 10, 20 years. You are right, Anders.
Okay, great. Sam, thanks so much for joining me and another episode of Thought